In this video, I am going to discuss about memory processes and how memory functions. Memory in cognitive psychology refers to the process used in acquiring, storing, retaining and retrieving information. There are three main processes, that is encoding, storage and retrieval. To create a new memory, information must first go through encoding so it can be transformed into usable form. Following encoding, the information is stored in our memory so that it can be used later. Most of our stored memory is actually outside of our awareness until it is needed. When it is needed, this information goes through the retrieval process, allowing for stored memory to be brought into our conscious awareness. To understand the basic function and structure of memory, one can look at the stage model of memory, which proposes three separate stages, that is sensory memory, short-term memory and long-term memory. Sensory memory. This is the earliest stage in the memory process. Sensory information that has been gathered from the environment as an exact copy of what is seen or heard is stored for a short period of time. Auditory information is stored for 3 to 4 seconds, while visual information is usually stored for no longer than half of a second. Only particular aspects of the sensory memory are attended to, and this allows some information to move on to the next stage. Iconic memory. When you see a flash of lightning, you can remember its image for a fraction of a second after it disappears. Echoic memory. After hearing a sound like a siren, you can recall the sound for a few seconds even if you are not actively thinking about it. Short-term memory, also known as active memory. This is the information that we are currently thinking about or aware of. This information will be kept for 20 to 30 seconds and it is generated by paying attention to sensory memories. Those short-term memories are often quickly forgotten. If this information is attended to by repetition, it will move on to the next stage. Remembering a phone number. You look up a phone number and keep it in your mind long enough to dial it. Following directions. Listening to someone giving you directions and holding them in your mind until you reach your destination or write them down. Now, long-term memory. Long-term memory is a type of memory responsible for storing information for extended periods, ranging from hours to a lifetime. Long-term memory is crucial for learning, as it enables the retention and retrieval of vast amount of information over long periods. This is basically two types, explicit memory and implicit memory. In explicit memory, episodic memory are recalling your first day of school or a memorable birthday party. Semantic memory, that is knowing that Paris is the capital of France or understanding the concept of gravity. In implicit memory, there are procedural memory and priming. Procedural memory is like knowing how to ride a bicycle or type on a keyboard without consciously thinking about the movement. Priming, being more likely to use a word you heard recently even if you don't consciously remember hearing it. Now, the difference between short-term memory and long-term memory. The difference between short-term memory and long-term memory become very clear when discussing memory retrieval. Short-term memory is stored and recollected in sequential order and is mostly comprised of sensory memories. So, for example, if you were told a list of words and were asked to recall the sixth word, you would have to list the words in the order you heard them to get the right information. Long-term memory, however, is stored and recalled based on meaning and association. How memory is organized. Because we can assess and recollect information from long-term memory, a person can then use these memories when interacting with others, making decisions and problem solving. But how the information is organized still remains a mystery. What we do know, however, is that memories are arranged in groups through a process known as clustering. In clustering, information is categorized so that it becomes easier to recall. For example, take a look at the following group of words: If you were to read this list, look away and then try to write down the words, your memory would likely group the words into different categories such as colors, fruits, and furniture. Memory plays an extremely large role in our lives. From the short term to long term, our experiences and our way of looking at the world are shaped by our memory. And even with all that we do understand about the subject, what memory truly is at its most basic level still remains a mystery. Now try this.